and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome. All righty, let's get this shoe on the road. Just before our meeting, we did have a quick session, an executive session. No votes were necessary to take. We just had some personnel issues to discuss. On that note, we'll move on down. And our first special presentation is from the Odyssey of the Mind, if they're here. Do I see him?
The teacher, the advisor, was unexpectedly absent today, so.
Oh, okay.
She'll make it up.
Okay, not a problem. So we have from Guthrie, the CEO of the Guthrie Healthcare System, Dr. Sabani. Sabani. You know, I knew I was gonna goof that.
It's a hard one.
I'm sorry about that, Dr. Sabani, but I saw you on Saturday, so if you'd like to step up to the mic and, welcome.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to meet with you. And you know, I want to start with an apology. I've been here almost 4 years. I'm about 250 feet, maybe 300 feet away, and I haven't had the privilege of getting to meet you, and I appreciate your hospitality tonight. So, just to formally introduce myself, I'm Ed Sabani. I'm the CEO of Guthrie. And I thought, you know, I appreciate the time to talk to you a little bit about Guthrie and what we're hoping for in our community. I want to thank, you know, Dr. DeLacio for all her leadership. She and I met probably in the first few weeks as we were dealing with COVID and in the organization, and we were strategizing about how to deal with it. I've gotten to know Cambria Ely and Barry Claypool, so all have been really helpful to me and to us as we plan for the future. Let me just say, if I may, a word about the state of Guthrie Clinic, because I think it's really important. We are working very hard to be a great partner in this community. And by that I mean we've worked on our quality scores. I think you've seen some of the improvements that we've had in patient quality and patient experience. We've worked really hard on our retention of employees and really making us a destination for careers. And we've worked, I think, hard to grow and serve our communities better. There was a time where we had trouble. If you called for an appointment, it might be a long time before you could get in to see us. And we really tried to improve that. We have standards now for primary care that in the region we should be able to see you same day, and we should be able to see you for specialty care, non-urgent specialty care within 4 days. So, and we're doing that now 95% of the time. So we've really worked hard to do that, and in the past 4 years as an organization, we've almost doubled in size. So it's been a time of great growth for us. I'm especially proud of the fact that this last year, when we look at our community benefit, we gave to the community $131 million in charity care and donations to various organizations, and we're very proud of that. The highest number we've ever given. So, you know, our focus is on growing care in this region, and to grow care effectively in the region, we have to have a pipeline of folks that want to stay in our community and work at Guthrie and grow that. And I think, you know, in many ways, our organization is a bit like a little city, right? We have all sorts of, we have HVAC and we have finance, we have neurosurgeons and we have nursing. We have all sorts of folks that make up the 10,000 caregivers that we have in this region. And it's interesting because our region, of course, is on both sides of the border, and we serve 10,000 square miles of community. One of the larger health centers actually in the region, and certainly in many other regions. that large an area. So it's critically important, obviously, that we engage with our school systems, that we partner with our school system, and we figure out a way to keep people engaged, healthy, and in their community, staying here. We want them to stay here. Recruitment and retention of a skilled workforce is paramount to that. A lot of rural health systems are failing because they can't keep people to want to work and stay in their communities. And we've been very privileged to have a community that supports us, where people stay, where we can grow, and I have found that to be, I got here late, I'll admit, 4 years is the length of time I've been here. I would have gotten here quickly if Donnie had called me or somebody else and said, this is such a great community and you gotta check it out. My career has been 21 years in the Air Force in Texas and other places, and then I was in Cleveland for a number of years in their health system, and then I was recruited to be the CEO of Guthrie, and I have to say, it's an amazing place and an amazing community. As we look at this community, there are 919 employees of Guthrie who live in Sayre. And we have 2,900 folks who work in Sayre but live in other communities. And we would really like as many people as the community can have for them to live here, to go to school here, to retire here someday after good careers. So I've had the privilege of meeting with Jill and the team on a number of occasions. We started in 2022, again in the midst of the pandemic, and we started thinking about, and I have some information that can, you're welcome to more detail here about our programs with the school. But we started, I think, those meetings around how we could partner and show kids what an amazing career healthcare can be and how amazing it is to stay in this region. And we've continued on that route. We have something called the Guthrie Career Exploration Program, which is for high school juniors and seniors in Sayre. And that program allows them either in a half year or a full year rotation to see all aspects. They can go and see anything they want. We want to show them. Again, we want them to stay. We have a program called Gear Up, which is about folks that are the kids that are just about to graduate and are looking for careers and jobs in the hospital and in the health system, and we have that as well. We do a lot of career fairs. We do mock interviews, so we try to help the kids be competitive in their interviews by doing these mock interviews with them. We have department tours, and we're really working with all of our regional school systems to drive home the point that we want them to stay, we want them to have a great career here, and we want the systems to work collaboratively to support our desire to keep folks here. So, a couple things I just wanted to close with. One, you are really, really important to us. You're really, really important to us. What you do is why I'm here, because somebody invested in me, a school system spent time with me, people mentored me, people gave me opportunities. And it was critically important to my growth, and it's similarly important all the kids that are here to have the mentorship and the interest. So I live in this region. I live a mile and a half or so from here. My wife and I love it here. And we really want to see people stay and have careers here. This is now our hometown, so to speak, and it is Guthrie's hometown, and we really, are invested in that. The second thing is, just very selfishly, I would tell you we really need talented folks to stay in this region. It's a highly competitive job market in healthcare. People can go obviously all over, and we really, really need them to realize how great it is here, what the opportunities are, the partnerships that we have together, and so I'm really appreciative of that. So I just wanted to come and introduce myself and make sure you knew that you're only a phone call away. You can call me anytime if there's something we can do. We are very invested in your success. We are very invested in your success. And we want to help in any way we can to get our kids where they want to be. So I don't know if there's a format for questions or, you know.
Sure, we can ask a few questions. I do have a comment though for you, Dr. Savani.
Yes.
And that is, I also appreciate the fact that with what Guthrie has started to do with the Northern Tier Career Center down there in their nursing program, because they have really helped to pick up the seats and stuff down there as far as their LPN program down there. And I think with especially the nursing programs with Guthrie, not only here in Sayre, but also at the different satellites, Tawanda Memorial, and as well as Troy Community, that's going to be a big asset, not only for our school, but as well as for the Guthrie healthcare system.
Thank you.
I have a question about the career exploration program. Do you know how many Sayre students are involved in that program?
We've had very few. This year, I think we've had a couple, and it's been between 2 and 4 a year.
Okay.
We
so-
would love, and you know, we're talking, I think the conversation that we're having, and Jill and Cambria has been about how we can make it better. Because we want to make it so people want to come to that.
Sure.
So Tricia, if I could add to what your questions there.
Yep.
One of the last conversations that you and I had earlier this year was about some of the barriers that might exist for our students and how we can, knock those down
Yes.
for them. And I know you just recently met with the team of Barry and Mrs. Ely about that and start to work through those processes.
We have. So I think that we're amazingly close. A lot of times it could be transportation that can stop these sort of programs, but we're so close, we have to figure it out. So we're getting some good feedback on what we can do to make it better.
What about part-time job opportunities? I mean, sophomores, let's face it, dietary, custodial, those entry-level jobs get kids interested in.
And we have a program around that because we absolutely want them to work, if they're available part-time.
You can leave from here and walk right across the parking lot.
Yes, yes.
And they can leave their car here, so they don't have to park in the other lots.
Right, because parking
For our
is,
students.
that's a hard problem over there, yes.
So I'm gonna ask you another question, and this one's tough.
That's good.
What are the biggest challenges right now with recruitment and retention?
You know, I think a couple things. We have made a lot of progress on our comp packages, right? Our minimum wage has gone up. We gave across the board raises of almost $28 million in Guthrie this past year. So I think we've made a lot of progress there. It's a highly competitive market. So we talk about this as an executive team, almost the instant that we make an adjustment, there is somebody else and we're in this bidding war and we want talent, so we're in it. I think the other things that, I think that some of it is the young generation may be looking for other things in their life, perhaps more restaurants and more places to go and that sort of thing. And we see that sometimes. We see problems with or challenges with the spouse wants to live somewhere else, and so we have trouble recruiting in those scenarios. I think one of the things that we really need to address in the community as best we can is housing opportunities. And we're looking at some possibilities there for affordable housing for folks. But I think all those things enter into it. And it's a much more mobile, when I came along, people kind of stayed at their job. They just, they got hired and they stayed. It's different now.
I think one of the other things I'd like to add with our conversation was this partnership that we've talked about over the last 3 years is a bridge in both directions. Like utilizing our facility with some of his employees or bringing, whether it be guest speakers in or evening activities or on the weekend to allow you to utilize our facility if you ever need it, and vice versa. So it's been a conversation of both.
Right. And it's been I think it's a really strong partnership that we have the roots of here, and we can make some great things happen.
I'm gonna tag on to your question a little bit, maybe even ask a tougher question. I've been away for 3 years now. What do candidates say about the educational system in this region, both in the community? I'll leave it broader just so that we know, because we have to we have a lot of challenges that we need to address and focus on, and what are you hearing?
I think a couple things. They need a critical size to have all the opportunities, right? From AP to sporting teams and such. So we do hear that. And we do hear on occasion that they really want, the parents want their kids to have an education that allows them to be competitive for various schools and such. So that's very important. I think one of the opportunities we have is to publicize all that we're doing. We have booklets from other school systems that talk about how many people do this thing or that and what their scores are as average and those sort of things. And I think the more we can have materials that show our strength, I think that'd be helpful. Like the healthcare professions, it's highly competitive where people live in this region. And the more we can show our strength here, the better off we are.
And Johnny, to add on to what you're saying, one of the things that Dr. Sabani and I spoke about in January was lending your marketing team to us this coming summer, that Mrs. Ely could potentially connect to have all of what's offered here at the high school, that we have how many dual enrollment courses, that some of our graduates, our valedictorian last year went to the University of Penn, had an offer at Harvard at the same time. I mean, all those things are marketable for what's happening across here. The drama club that we have, and the music programs, and the sports programs. Our basketball team just played at state. So there's a lot of competitions and things that are happening. Odyssey of the Mind is for our students that strive to learn and grow and solve problems. And so I don't know that all of those get out there. They're on our Facebook page and that, but having somebody that's a specialist in marketing could help us pull that together. I know you shared that you would offer that up.
We would love to help in any way we can, because I think we have to tell the story
Yeah.
better.
Because there's not, and Kevin, you're heavily involved in Odyssey of the Mind, mentoring, are there opportunities for, the technical teams at Guthrie, kind of all the disciplines to really be mentors for those kids?
Or just the opportunity to expose instrumentation and automation, things of that sort that you could bring to the kids and be like, hey, these are instrumentation equipment, things of that sort, just to make them better understand, like, oh, this is what instrumentation is, this is what automation is, this is what computer programming is. That it's things like that our community kind of needs to rope in. Sorry, my voice carries, so I turn that away. But so it's opportunities like that with Odyssey of the Mind, that if we have that opportunity to show the kids how automation, especially in the healthcare industry, robotics and things like that, how they work, would be astronomical. It would put into perspective the basics of what they're learning.
I think we just have to we have to make it come alive for these kids, right? That's what people did for me, and probably many of us in this room, and we've got to, and that's why, 300 feet away is a place that has some cool stuff going on, and you have some cool stuff going on, and I just, I'd love to see us figure it out and partner.
So I have one more thing to ask, and then
Is it a hard one?
And then I'm done talking. This is just what I do. So I know, from working in human resources at Guthrie for many years, the service lines that the recruiters work diligently on. It is probably best, if you don't already have it in motion, to maybe create some type of liaison position between these school districts and your campuses, right? So we're across the street from each other, and our relationship, while it is fine, it could always be better. And I think having someone in your organization to really help bridge that gap, not just between us and you, but I mean every community that you sit in, is helpful. And your recruiters so often are working really hard on their service lines, right? Respiratory therapists and CNAs, and the list goes on and on. That they are working so hard to recruit those positions. It's a different type of recruitment when you're trying to get into the district to help kids understand your opportunities.
Yes.
So I think that is one thing, not that you asked for advice,
No.
but I think that is
Yeah.
one thing that is missing, is that liaison piece.
And I brought some packets there because as we've been going around and talking, I think one of our challenges is we didn't have one point, right? We're 10,000 folks, and who do you approach and how do you enter? And we've tried to come up with 3 names that are available for direct calls. When you say, well, I've got somebody who wants to do this, who would I talk to? Those 3 people are gonna be our connection. And you know, I appreciate feedback, so you can give me feedback down the road and say, this is effective or not effective, and we'll figure it out.
Yep, absolutely.
Dr. Sabani, I have another question
Yes,
for
sir.
you. You were mentioning about the Guthrie Exploration Program. If you can give us a little Reader's Digest for people that maybe not be familiar with that particular program, and, well, I'm gonna let you describe it.
Well, thank you. It is a program for juniors and seniors, and it involves either half or full year rotations in various areas that they have an interest in. This is something, we have not been as successful as I would like to get kids engaged around it. And you know, that's on us, and, you know, there's always opportunity here, but I'd love to see more kids engaged around it. And so we really want the feedback about what, you know, what we can do better, what you're hearing, are we offering the right things, are we doing it at the right hours? Those are the things that we need help on.
And that's the piece that I was trying to convey, that liaison
Yes.
piece, where you can create great relationships inside of the buildings with, you know, the different schools, and then bring that information back to you and really figure out how to bridge that gap.
Yes, I think that'd be really good. So, you know, we were a little hamstrung by COVID, obviously. So for the first couple of years here, we were masked, it felt like, and we couldn't do any of these things, but it's a new day. And we're out of that period, and I think we've got some huge opportunities.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you, I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
You're always welcome over here too, Dr. Sabani.
Thank you, sir. And I've left some things there, and, you know, please call me directly if I can be of service.
Can you hand them over there
Sure.
and help pass them around for us too?
Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Barry, you didn't need to walk around and hand them off.
That's the direction you gave me.
Just realized your last of mine.
Let's get a steps in. If I don't, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, we appreciate it.
Okay, we'll move on to public comment. The chair wishes to address a resident or taxpayer of the Sarah Area School District wishing to address the board about title programming or any other matter of concern or interest properly raised in a public session. Please give your name and address and the subject of your content you'll be addressing. It's requested that comments be kept to 3 minutes. Moreover, please note that the comments relative to private student or employee matters should be directed to the superintendent outside of this meeting. So at this time, if there's anyone from the public that would like to come up with a comment.
I didn't fill out a form yet, but I'm gonna fill it out as soon as I'm done, sorry. Hello,
Good evening.
good evening. Brian Rich, 315 Murray Street, South Waverly, Pennsylvania. I thought the presentation was great. I just wanted to add, as the father of a new 7th grader, I'll be honest, I didn't know about any of that stuff, but I think it was great information. And I'm just gonna repeat some of the points he made, but I think we can do a really good job of advertising those things to current families, new families, all the families we know who have questions about our district and all that sort of stuff. It's just another opportunity to get it out there, folks, about all the great things going on at Sarah. Thought it was very good. I think it's very exciting to know we have a partnership like that so close. I'd be very interested to hear in the future what our next steps are to stay in contact with folks and how we're gonna expand on that relationship. Very excited though for another opportunity for our kids. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Rich. Anyone else that would like to make a public comment at this time? Seeing there is none, let's move on with the consent agenda. Number 2 is to approve the minutes as of March the 3rd. Number 3, instruction, reports of the conference requests. Letter B, field trip requests. Letter C, district volunteers. Letter D, the new award scholarship. It's a motion to approve the class of 1974 of SARE for the scholarship of $500 to be awarded one time to a graduating senior furthering his or her education. The eligible student must be involved in school-based activities, good role model, and have good academic standing. Letter E is the comprehensive plan. A motion to approve the Sarah Area School District's final comprehensive plan as presented, including academic standards and achievement requirements, gifted education plan assurances, induction plan, professional development plan, and student services assurances. Number 4 is the finance, to approve the capital projects, the cafeteria, and federal programs from February, as well as the general fund. Letter B, the Berkheimer tax report for February. And letter C, the transfers for March 2025. Number 5, under personnel, to approve the personnel requests as presented. Number 6, the first reading of some policies. Number 234, 247, 249, 252, 252 attachment, also 336, 339, and 824. Down to number 7, athletics and recreation, the board to approve the athletic personnel as presented. So do we have a motion and a second on the consent agenda at this time?
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Questions and comments?
Yes, Ron, I'm really struggling to understand the policy, the separate policy, 252, dating violence. I'm confused with the district, the way at least I perceive in reading it. I don't understand why it's not covered in hazing, bullying, cyberbullying, all of the other related things, right? And that one seems to stretch to outside the school district's realm of responsibility. So I'm really confused why that is a policy that we would, one, need, because I think it's covered in other areas. And 2, I think it gets very tricky and it's really difficult to understand the role and responsibility of the school district as it relates to how that's run.
I would say on that note, Donnie, I would say that that particular policy, again, we can include that. And another part of the policy, as you said, you know, like whether it be for hazing or anything like that. Again, the policies are basically written, if we want to approve them as they are presented. Again, because PSBA does give us these particular policies, we don't have to accept them as verbatim for that, but we can include it in other policies.
I'd just like to understand, what's the real purpose behind that separate policy? I struggle to understand the purpose, and to me, it adds a level of, you know, of responsibility that I'm not sure I would understand from a school district's perspective. Over and above our responsibility to make sure all students are in a safe environment, and all students are treated, you know, equally, right? And without, you know, without disruption.
And so they pushed it for, I will share that PSBA shares this, they share all of their policies with us, their legal team pulls them and puts them to us. We review them and bring them to the board for first
Yeah.
reading, comment if you wanna pull them. So it's the same, that concept that you're talking about is the same one for me when we talk about social media. When things are happening or Snapchats are happening at night, and then they come into school the next day and they report them to an educator, they report them to the counselor, they report them to the principal. We now have to respond, take action, investigate, because it's interfering with this school environment day. So if a student makes a report about dating violence, it would be in that same realm. We follow the policy, the procedures that are in place, but I get what you're saying, that they could also fall under the other policies that we have in
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, I just don't, it's simpler is better to ensure that we're doing the right thing. When it's conflicted and confused relative to where does this fall and why are we doing what we're doing, it just makes it more challenging. And I would, maybe it's worth asking PSBA, why the separate policy? What, you know?
So, and because it's a first reading, I can take those questions back. If there's a revision or a pullout, you don't take it to second reading. We would bring it back to the board for information 30 days from now. So that's what we'll do. I'll take that information. You
And
can do it
I'm
as-
one voice, so I
Yeah.
just,
No, but what I'm
Yeah,
saying is
with
a
the table,
as a, well,
252.
it's not necessarily tabling it, it's a first read, so
Yeah.
it's 30 days under review, and then we might not bring it back for another, if we bring it back, what we'll do is bring it back for a first read.
yeah. And I don't wanna confuse it. I agree, we wanna make sure students aren't harmed in any way, right? But it's more about
Yeah.
that.
I'm gonna lean to my secondary principals, they probably lean into this more than the elementary school, so Mr. Howie, do you, or Mrs. Ely, do you have?
Howie's at the edge of his chair, you might as well give it to
Okay.
him.
Yeah.
Mr. Scarpetta, I had the same problem when I was reading through them, and I think what I finally settled on, was able to settle with my own heart, is they needed to clarify, because of the level of intimacy between a dating relationship and just a bullying or hazing, they needed to be specific along those lines, because someone coming within a relationship that has a different level to it, and therefore they needed to actually clarify that. That's the only reason I can see the repetitiveness of it, because bullying and hazing are the same thing as well. The difference being, bullying is kind of in most people's idea like the school day, and hazing is more of a sports club thing, so it's extracurricular. And now this is dating, so it's more of an intimacy thing. It's all people being nasty to each other, but they're in different arenas within our school day. So that's the only reason I could swallow that, even having that there.
Yeah, and my perspective would be capture those various elements in a single policy as opposed to
Yes, sir.
multiple. That's, okay.
Is it possible to review and then decide to add it to another policy and bring that policy up for a first reading?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay,
So we're gonna push it back to review,
perfect.
even because it's only in a first reading. Okay,
That's all.
thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments at this time?
So I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to make a comment. If you had the time to read the multi-page comprehensive plan along with all the attachments, it was, it started back in November. We've had a team of people. We're still working on a strategic plan, but I'd be, remiss if I didn't acknowledge the commitment of time, the evenings spent There are parents here that are on that team, there are teachers here that were on that team, we have support staff members, administrators, so a lot of individuals, if you look at the, I think the second or third page, board members are on that team, so it comes from all the stakeholders, and they work very hard at pulling that together, so I appreciate all the work that they've done. Thank you, Mr. Cole.
Any other questions or comments? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We'll move forward. Number 8, we'll move to pay the bills for March 2025. If we could get a motion and a second on that.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Questions or comments on the bills? If not,
We'll begin with Mrs. Agnew.
Yes, except I abstain on bills paid number 1 and 2 and bills for payment number 2.
Mrs. White.
Yes, I abstain on number 7.
Mr. Hadlock.
Yep.
Mrs. Clements.
Yes.
Mr. Petrini.
Yes.
Mr. Root.
Yes.
Mr. Skirpon.
Yes.
Mr. Cole.
yes. Moving down to our reports. High school principals report. Mrs. Ely.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to congratulate our junior high scholarship challenge team on taking 3rd place on March 8th at the competition at the Sarah Theater. And congrats to our senior high team on a terrific season. They competed this past Saturday in the playoffs and came out in 3rd place overall, but my understanding from Mr. Roy is it was pretty close. So great job to both teams. I would like to just take a moment to thank the board for giving me the opportunity to attend the Principals Collaborative that was offered through the IU recently. I attended the 5 sessions over the course of this year thus far, along with other principals and assistant principals throughout the local region. They came from Troy, Wellsboro, Williamsport, and Jersey Shore. We discussed many topics, including effective leadership styles, educator evaluations, curriculum and assessments, using data to drive change, discipline, and grading practices. It was very worthwhile to me, and I appreciate the support in order to attend things like that to help me grow individually, which helps me in turn to facilitate growth here in the high school building. And I have a bunch of calendar reminders. So the 3rd marking period ends this Thursday. There's no school this Friday. This Saturday, we will be having a blood drive and a collection for personal and cleaning items here in the high school gym from 10 to 2. Don't forget, next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the performances of Guys and Dolls will be held in the auditorium. And on April 1st, a donkey basketball game will be held in the high school gym at 7 p.m. to support the senior class. So you can participate if you want. Or you can just buy tickets and show up and be in the audience. And that's all I had.
Thank you, Mrs.
Sign me up.
Thank you, Mrs. Ely. Nothing from Mr. Howie, okay? Mrs. Morel, I know you're back there someplace.
I'm back here.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Mrs. Ely, you checked some of the things off.
On the
my
calendar,
list
I
to
found
share
it.
with you, so I appreciate that. This past week, we had a walkthrough for 6th grade student McKenna Ruvalo prior to her leaving for the Keystone State Tournament where she placed 8th. We're very proud of her and her accomplishments and look forward to her competing in those endeavors in the future. Dr. Seuss Week, thank you to my Title I staff. We had a very, very busy week. We also had a visitor from a retired teacher, Lisa Cole. She came and shared some of those activities from Read Across America. She helped to celebrate the week-long celebration. She spent a fun-filled day reading her recently published book, Amos, the Brave Mini Donkey, and sharing stories about her journey in writing children's books, specifically her first of 8 picture books, Amos, a sweet and sometimes stubborn miniature donkey, and the inspiration for her newly published book that's lived on her family farm for nearly 20 years. She does intend to come back and visit with us, so we were very happy to have her spend the day with us. If you got your calendar out over there, Kids Night Out, Mr. Cole, coming up March 20th, 5 to 7:30, cost is $20 per student in grades K to 6. They'll check in at the Brock Street entrance, and please remember to bring a towel for swimming. Sign-ups will close soon, money is due by tomorrow the 18th, and there's an 80 student limit on that, so we're looking forward to that. Last week, one student from each grade level received a gift certificate for Snyder's upcoming spring book fair. Students were randomly selected from hundreds and hundreds of entries for their participation in last week's Read Across America Spirit Week. A big thank you to all the students, teachers, and staff that joined on the fun, and an extra special thank you to Snyder's awesome PTG for supporting that event. In front of you, whoops, sorry, there's a packet. I thought I'd give you a little bit of information about our MeWe activity, second grade, engaged in engaging an educational experience to prepare their students for the upcoming field trip that they took to Faye's Maple Syrup Farm. Through their lessons, the student explored key concepts such as advertising strategies, the benefits of shopping locally, the process of maple tree sap production, and the impact of temperature changes on sap and maple syrup. Students gained a deeper understanding of the significance of maple farming and its role in the local economy. So some of those things were just what second grade did in preparation for their trip, and they had a great time. Oh, shenanigans. What a day we had downstairs. It was just utter mayhem. Someone on loose made a mess on that kindergarten floor, and the kindergarten kids were so helpful in picking up all those stickers that were everywhere. So they had a great time. I know they had leprechaun traps and all kinds of activities for St. Patrick's Day. Some milkshakes were made, so they had a great day all the way around. Let's see. Let's go to the new sound system. If you haven't visited Snyder, like A+, top notch. Thank you very much for investing in Snyder. The PBIS team was thrilled. The teachers were thrilled. I asked them to dummy-proof the system, that all you needed to do was push a button and it comes on, the microphone hooks right up, the phys ed teacher can take his phone, or anyone that has Bluetooth capabilities and can play through that phone. There's 4 speakers, so it can either play through the entire gym, on the cafeteria side, or on the gymnasium side, so we're very thankful for that new sound system. It was a great investment, and they appreciated it very much, so thank you so much for that. Speaking of the gym, the boys varsity basketball team, while we talk about sports, sometimes it's important, I think, to remember moral character and behavior. Those boys are welcome over at Snyder anytime. There was one day they came in, the coach wasn't quite there. I said, okay, fellas, go over to the gym, but make sure, you behave and do your thing. Not a peep out of those kids. Always very polite, always very respectful. So even though they made it to state, sometimes their accomplishment is also in how they behave when they come back and visit their old principal at Snyder. And last but not least, Dr. Delosio, it's your last official board meeting here, and I just wanted to say thank you for all that you've done while you're here, and good luck on your next endeavor in your career. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mrs. Morel.
You're welcome.
From PSBA, the 2025 State Education Booklet is now available, containing statistics from surveys from the participating districts who was surveyed across the Commonwealth on various issues and ways of education is being operated, so be looking for that. April 1st is a virtual program of artificial intelligence and ways it's being used in education currently. That is coming up, let's see here, the symposium is from 8:30 till 12:30 p.m. on April the 1st. State Ethics Director Mary Fox is having a webinar on April 14th at 12 noon regarding the Ethics Act and how school directors can use this while speaking on media platforms. And May 13th is Advocacy Day at the State Capitol in Harrisburg. So on the programs there, if you would like to register, you can go to your MyPSBA website to register. Down at the Career Center, got good news last Thursday at the demonstration night. Our number was wrong. The participants from Sayre School District was right around 48. We're up to 52 students now down there, and I was glad to get that news. And again, there's probably right around 530 students that will be enrolled at the Northern Tier Career Center for next year. 64 students are currently participating in co-op and the DO programs down there. And of course, we've got a number of students from our district that are participating with some of the businesses down there. But again, the demonstration night was terrific down there. Again, as I predicted, it was packed with people, and it was so good, I ran into a number of our teachers as well as our students down there that participated. And they, like I said, not only did our kids do an amazing job, so did all of our students. And I'll tell you what, I hope people left there with a great impression, because I certainly did. And they did a great job. And we meet on Thursday night, Dr. Delosio. This will be your last meeting down in North Carolina as well. So I appreciate the job that you've done down there as well.
Thank you.
All right, Mrs. Agnew, IU 17.
Anybody has any questions, you can ask, otherwise that's all I have. Yes, Ron.
Well, yeah, you even beat me.
You take some pointers there, Nicole.
I know, you beat me peeling the report off here, so. Committee reports, any, of the chairman that would like to give a committee report at this time?
Every time, everyone looks right at me. Well, guess what? This time I'm saving it and I'm gonna let Colleen Rich do it.
Colleen, come on.
I am
Mrs.
passing my
Rich.
torch.
Succeeding your time.
I know.
It's usually one of us.
There it is. It's always one of us, yes. She's gonna talk to us a little bit about the success of rec cheer and cheer in general.
Hello, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm back. Just wanted to let everybody know, we had another successful competition season for our cheerleaders. The rec program, we had, our youngest team is 1st through 4th grade. We had 15 girls on that, and took 1 second place and 2 first places at our competitions. Our red team is our older rec team, which is 5th through 8th grade. We have 25 girls on that team. We had an undefeated season. We had 3 firsts at each competition. Our last competition beat Southern Columbia, which anyone that knows anything about Valley sports knows that that's a pretty big deal. They win districts most years, and our girls really worked hard and kind of had that goal to beat them, to do as best as they could. But they were all very, very excited when we found out that we did beat them. Varsity, we had 14 girls on our competition team for that. We went to districts early on in the season and did well. It was the first time there, and well, they went 2 years ago and hadn't gone in a long time. So that was a great experience. Then we went to 2 other competitions, took a second and a first. We're losing 2 seniors. We had Gwendolyn Firestein and Morgan Hickey were our seniors, so thank you, seniors. And just overall, the program had a very successful year. I really tried to run it from kindergarten flag all the way up through 12th grade. I try to stay involved as I can in the Junior Redskins program, which is the younger program, and that's kind of where we get a lot of our rec girls. Once we decide to do competition, we see who's interested in that. And I really just try to keep all of them involved. And during football season, we do homecoming activities together. We have seniors teaching the little ones things. And then for competition practices, I overlap practices a lot so they get to know each other's routines. And you see them, every time one of them competes, the rest of them are sitting in front, singing the music, doing the moves. There's the cutest video of two fifth graders like sitting there, like doing all the motions to the first graders routine, and, we have dress rehearsals with all the squads so that they can all see each other, before each competition. And that's really it. Just wanted to thank you guys again for your support for the program. And that's all. That's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Rich.
Mrs. Rich, I did want to say thank you. The success of the program is because of the leader of the program, so thank you so much for all the time and energy and creativity that you put into the program and the students.
You're welcome.
White House invites teams to,
Yes.
should we invite, I mean, maybe.
You should bring them sometime for a cheer.
Well,
You could
so,
do that.
so that was my plan to come. I would like to come and show you guys the routines, because a lot of people don't understand what it all entails.
That'd be great.
We'd probably hold a
and
meeting in the
so
gymnasium.
we figured that was a little bit longer than this, so
It's only
maybe we
three,
can
it's
do
only
something
3
else.
minutes. You can do a routine in
2:30, I know. We got it. So, but just for next year, one of our goals of the season is to have some sort of showcase, hopefully like towards the beginning of the season, for friends and family that can't necessarily go to the competitions, to come and see that, in the gym. So, that is on the agenda.
I do think it would be a great idea to have them perform, or a group of them perform at a board meeting. We just need enough that we'll put the meeting in the gymnasium, so you have the
Okay.
space that you need, and
Yeah.
can set
Oh,
this
they
up
would
down
love it.
there. Team will make it happen.
They love any sort of audience.
I'm saying that to the interim superintendent. They'll make it happen.
Put on that list, Tricia.
Okay, anyone else with a committee report? Are you all done, Mrs.?
I'm done.
Mrs. Blythe, okay. I just wanted to pass along that, from our finance committee report this past month, we received a safety and security grant from 2022-2023 of $155,000, and also the bleachers should start to be renovated over in the bowl here very soon. And also the 25-26 budget is currently being worked on by our finance team as well. Mr. Claypool, anything you want to add?
Nah, you got it covered.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Claypool. Okay, let's see here. Where am I? Oh, it's my turn again. All right. Well, I just wanted to say it's always good to be with the team of 10 this evening, and I want to say a special thanks to our special guest, Guthrie CEO, Dr. Sabani. I know.
Sabani.
There goes the neighborhoods, Dr. Sabani. I'll get it before he retires over here, John, so. But anyway, I just wanted to make mention too, the Odyssey of the Mind students and advisors are fine examples of our success over this month. The boys basketball teams, scholarship challenge teams, our students that participated in demonstration night down at the Career Center, and an 8th place finish for Snyder School wrestler McKenna Ruvulo. Thank you, Mr. Ruth, for being a great coach there. And in fact, to all of our coaches, advisors, teachers, parents, please keep up the great work. It's really making a difference here in our district. And again, as Mrs. Ely mentioned, the musical Guys and Dolls, March 28th through the 30th in the high school auditorium. I'm looking forward to that. And if it's anything like any of the rest of the musicals and the performances in the auditorium, it's going to be a good one. Class of 2026 benefit chicken and biscuit dinner, March 26th, 4 till 6 in the high school cafeteria. And again, appreciate what the students are doing there, as well as the volunteers. The volunteers are always behind the scenes making this happen. Lastly, Dr. Delosio, I want to thank you for 6 fine years here in our school district. You know, I go back to a couple of months ago when I mentioned that we didn't hire a perfect superintendent. I still stand behind that, but we did bring on an outstanding professional educator, I feel. And I'm proud to say you've done an exceptional job. And again, I can honestly say it doesn't come just from me, but, again, I've heard from people in the state as well as people regionally, how fortunate we were to have a superintendent like you here on the job. But just want to wish you and Mark and the very best, and like I said, nothing but best to you in your educational career. Thank you, Dr. Delosio.
Thank you.
You're next.
Okay.
Last time around.
All right, so a lot of people have already mentioned the scholarship challenge. I want to thank Mr. Roy for all the work that you do and the time you commit to the students after the day. I saw a couple of videos of them working collectively together right over here in your room, and so they had a great run this year, and so I appreciate all the work and effort that you put into that, so thank you. Today, the community relations team did have some shenanigans over there in kindergarten, and Mrs. Morel pinch hit it a little bit for me as I'm under the weather and didn't want to pass the germs over to those little ones or the teachers. And I have a report here from the national conference for the board members of sessions that I attended. And so as this is my final board meeting before I exit Sayre here at the end of this month, I want to say thank you to the 9 board members and the community for taking a chance on me. Thank you for the opportunity to serve this valley. It really is a wonderful place to be. I've had some great conversations over the last couple of weeks as things start to wind down. I'm really proud of the work that has been accomplished here. When I think back 6 years ago to where we are today, 7 administrators, 76 professional staff members, 47 support members, and 19 contracted employees do an awful lot of work, and they are top-notch. So the accomplishments, right? There are more opportunities today here in the Sayre Area School District than existed in 2019. All of our students are one-to-one with computers. Curricular resources have been upgraded to the tune of several $100,000. Extracurricular activities are booming. Dual enrollment, a student can graduate from Sayre and have almost 30 credits under their belt if they buckle down and get the job done. State competitions, musicals, electives have changed and opportunities are available. And I think one of the challenging pieces, and Mrs. Morel and I actually just talked about this today, filling all the positions that became open over that 6-year period of time. And I asked the board to give me the faith and grace that we needed to make sure that we picked the right people for the right positions and not just to fill it because it needed to be filled. And we did that. And each time we waited, we ended up getting great people. So we have a lot of great people serving our students. I think of Tiny Mikes that came to be. And then the infrastructure work that has been done, all with no bonds, all without adding to that bottom line. Mr. Claypool works very hard with the finance team to not add debt, but still bring new to the district. So I am proud to have worked alongside the educators and the support staff and the administration here in Sayre. And so I look back with smiles, thinking of the relationships that I've made, the memories that have been created, and I can't wait to see what happens next here in Sayre. So thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Delosio, one last time. Down to our future meetings, we do have a board of directors meeting, April 7th in the junior senior high school. Is this the auditorium or the library?
So it's gonna be in the library because they need one extra week to take everything off the stage.
Okay, I just double checked.
Nope, I appreciate that.
We'll be back up here in the library at 7 o'clock on April the 7th. One of the last things I do want to make mention, I forgot to do in my report, do look at the website and do look at the Facebook page, because I mean, it's just loaded with all kinds of achievements and things that our kids are doing out there. Like I said, I'm proud of you students. And thank you to the teaching staff and volunteers, Okay. Other than that, I'm ready to adjourn. If we can have a motion to adjourn.
You need a second?
Second? Yeah, okay. Good night, everyone. Thank you.